Dum 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 dum. Good morning, everybody. Look, the gray hairs all smiling and appreciating the classic sounds of Mozart or Beethoven, or maybe it was the Ponderosa Bonanza theme song. Who couldn't remember? Anyway, it's not nice to get together here on the great Ponderosa, the plains of Samsara. Let's have a moment of silence for all those who are suffering the afflictions and ills and anxieties and loss and grief and harm of samsara, of greed, hatred, and delusion, the three poisons, the war in Ukraine, the refugees, the pandemic, corruption, injustice, and all the rest. So, say and release, relax. Big out breath. You can't hold it in while you're saying It's hard to think. Just being, just eyeing, be like the Wizard of Oz, part of the horde, the astronauts. Sky dancers, not space cadets. Sky dancers. Great deck. The whole universe. My body, she said. All beings, my heart and mind. Thou art that, as the Upanishads say, Tattvamasi, thou art that, you are it, Imaho, all endowed with the luminous Buddha nature, as the Tantric scriptures say. How's my volume, Emma? Give me a sign, Father, thank you. How sweet it is. What a miracle. Just to draw a breath, just to see the sun shine today. This day of rest, this Sabbath, this Sunday. Wow. And setting the noble Bodhisattva's intention, bodhicitta, the altruistic or unselfish wish for enlightenment, for liberation, for alleviation of pain and suffering for all beings, not just ourselves, all our loved ones, all connected to us and our loved ones and our pets and neighbors, and in increasing, widening, deepening, beginning concentric circles, including all beings, as it says in Tibetan Buddhism, all beings who have been like our dear beloved mothers and fathers and grandmothers and fathers, wives and children, through infinite lifetimes and cycles of rebirth in the greater ecology of being, whether you think of it or believe it in rebirth or not. What comes around, what goes around comes around. Everybody knows that. The bigger cycles, the greater ecology of being, not just recycling our garbage, but being recycled also. Why should we be different when we wear out our visa here? And a nice, long, uninterrupted visa, it seems to be. Just look around. None of us are getting any younger. Except Leo Shapiro. He seems to have the secret of the fountain of youth. Leo, who prays for and blesses everybody every day, almost every minute. Look, there's John and Elizabeth Dabney Hockman of Brooklyn. Or is it Brookline? I get confused. Brookline's here in Boston. Brooklyn, who have adopted 3 Tibetan refugees. Oh no, they're Ukrainians this era. Yes, giving sanctuary. That's a bodhisattva activity, isn't it? Thank you. Who else is there who's doing anything good? I don't see anybody, never mind. I'll just be silent. I think that's best. A moment of silence. Oh, you beautiful, happy people, loving people, faithful, devoted, committed, dedicated people. So nice to see you and be you, be together, co-meditate, intermeditate, into being together. How sweet it is. One sangha, one satsang, one spiritual family, one beloved community, as Martin Luther King Jr. called the beloved community. Satsang, sangha, sang means fellowship, sacred fellowship, brotherhood, sisterhood, otherhood, whatever. Fellowship, community, communion, koinonia in Catholicism, transformative communion or community. Taking refuge in the Sangha, not just the Buddha, not just the Dharma practice, but the Sangha too. No one can do it alone. All interconnected, interdependent, into being. Wow. Wondrous, miraculous. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. And I bow to the Buddha, the light, the goddess, the divine in your seats. Don't overlook them. Ujanil Jinu Chatsa Bemagyasadam Bola Yatsen Choging Drunye Bemajane Sudra Kudukandra Mampako Yankee Jesu Dadriki Shengela Chisha Suso Guru Pema Siddhi Homa Oma Menza Guru Pema Siddhi Homa Om Ha Menza Guru Pema Siddhi Homa Oma Mensa Guru Pema Siddhi Hum Om Ha Mensa Guru
Pema Siddhi Hum Sangha Dharma Buddha Oma Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum Lotus Guru Mantra Om Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum Vajra Guru Mantra Benzar means Vajra in Tibetan. Om Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Om Pema is Padma. Om Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Om. Buddha bless us, guide us, protect us, point the way. Om Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum Om Ahum Om Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. Lotus Guru, empower each of us, empowering and transforming all in the world. Om Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum Om Ahum Om Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. Purify and holify us, purify and holify all. Om Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siddhi. Beam into each of us, illuminating us, awakening the Buddha-ness within. Om Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. Om Benza Guru Pema Siddhi. Oh, turn your face this way. Let me behold you. Om Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. Om Om Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Om. No, thank you. May the Buddha's blessing ever awaken and illumine our minds. May the enlightened one's blessing and kindness and inspiration ever unfold in our good hearts. May the inconceivable blessing of awakening, of wakefulness itself, dispel the momentary illusion we've ever been separate, incomplete, or apart. Homage to the Buddha in your seat. Don't overlook them. Let's try something new and fresh today. I'm getting tired of same old, same old. Don't just give me that old time religion. Don't just give me that old time religion. So just sitting, just being, forget about meditating. That's extra. Why import that from foreign worlds? Just being, since we already are, that's pretty organic, pretty natural, hard to argue with, non-sectarian, profound, even being with a capital B plus, and aware of it, awareness with a capital A plus, just seeing with a capital C, doing the Dharma dance, whatever the music is, whatever the moment brings, just moving and flowing as we feel it. Whether you think call it dancing or not, dancing at life. Viva the Dharma, as a little bit of Buddha sound. And maybe that was Tevya. Just sitting, just being, just breathing. Let's add that on. The three kayas, just sitting, natural body, just breathing, natural breath and energy, just being, as a natural heart, mind, leave it as it is. Mahamudra refuge, the three kayas, empty, yet lucid, and spontaneous and obstructed, open, and whole. Enjoy the joy of non-meditation, Dzogchen beyond meditation, presence, just being, unmeditation, undoing the habit of overdoing, even in contemplation, won't make it into mental calisthenics and feeling never quite good enough. Settle back into the moment. Get down into your seat, your chair, your cushion, the ground itself, the groundless ground, just being with a capital B plus. As you already are, as is, that's the Dzogchen slogan, as it is, as is. One Papa said, leave it as it is and rest the weary heart and mind. There is nirvanic peace in things left just as they are. Beyond action and beyond inaction, the supreme, sublime Dharma is accomplished. What to do with that? I don't know, just not knowing. No mind for a moment to know. Being is primary, is upstream from doing, knowing, accumulating, is being. Goalless, aimless, directionless, yet incandescent, relaxed, yet dynamically present and attentive. Interested. Inquiring, what is this? Who is this? What the hell? And go. Forming the bottomless abyss, luminous, centerless openness, the natural state, the natural flow, the natural great perfection. Dzogchen, the ultimate stance, the bigger picture, the great symbol, Mahamudra, the middle way, Madhyamika, beyond extremes, all center, no circumference or periphery. Sit on your Buddha seat, friends, aligned, erect like a biped is supposed to be, yet relaxed at ease. At ease. First attention, then at ease. Wow. Way to go. Hallelujah. Thank you. Enjoy the joy of Dzogchen meditation, your presence with the practice. Abiding in the clear light of innate luminosity, or super awareness itself. Eyes open, ears open, nose open, mouth open, not even trying to concentrate or meditate, just present, alert, aware. Cultivate the arts and practice of presencing, awareing, mindfuling, openness and awareness inseparable. Everything's part of it, whatever arises in the body-mind continuum in the present moment. Well, impermanent, ownerless, dreamlike phenomena and mind stuff. Letting go is letting come and go, letting be. Letting be, that's the secret of equanimity. Evenness, even-minded, equal to all. Beyond liking and disliking, attraction and aversion. Just observing the show. It's the only show, the best show in town. Figured. The entire marvelous display of awareness on the silver screen of emptiness. All of our projections, the entire display of awareness itself. Wow. Ah. Eyes open, ears open, nose open, mouth open, go gaga. Let go of your reference points. Drool a little. Throat open, heart open, diaphragm open, anus open, heart and mind open, at ease, decontracted, relaxed, natural. Enjoy the joy of being and being present and accountable. Presence. And now this awareness, the authentic, unfabricated, natural being within, naturalness, innate wakefulness, not fabricated concentration, emotional states of mind, as it isness, the Dharmata, the Dharma nature, the flow going through us right now. Let it go. Go with it. Everything is improvisational. Why resist? There's no script. Dig it. What a relief. Drop the burden. I'd be like Atlas, carry the burden of the world on your shoulder, the whole globe. Just drop everything. Drop the body, drop the memory, drop the cares and preoccupations. Just wanted the Buddha say, be here now. Where else could you be anyway? So get with it. Come home to yourself, to the here and now. The paradise, the Buddha field called the here and now. Good to Zampos. Oh. Ah. Om Tare Tu Tare Turiye Soha. 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 Tare Tu Tare Turiye Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Turiye Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Turiye Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Turiye Soha. Tare Tu Tare Turiye Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Turiye Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Turiye Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Turiye Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Soha. Tare Tu Tare Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Turiye Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Turiye Wah, 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 wah. Hallelujah. Yuka. Swaha. Namo. Thank you. Mr. Tara. Embodiment of the sacred feminine principle within us all. Holy Buddha Mother Tara, guardian goddess of the high ground, guardian of Tibet, guardian of the high ground within. Tara, whose name means star, like a light, the star guiding us home. Tibetan Jolma, the liberator, the liberatress, first responded to prayers. She, of unobstructed, inexhaustible, liberating Buddha activity. Green Tara, green like Mother Nature, and green, white Tara, color of purity and longevity. Red Tara, passion is compassion. So many Taras, 21 Taras in pantheon, infinite Taras. Every woman, every female, every woman a Tara, every female, any species of Tara. All beings of Tara. In this land, this Buddha field here, known as Tara's Buddha field of infinitely arrayed lotuses, meaning each lotus with a Tara sitting on it. Each of us floating on a lotus in our idealized or true self, our essence, our beingness. Yay, Tara. Should give Tara a gong. She needs it, I can tell. Yay, Tara. Om Tare Tu Tere Tu Swaha. Even Tara, idealized as homeland, gone with the wind, Tara. It's all around. It's a nice name people are using these days. Tara, beautiful. Of course, there's no gender in the absolute, but in the relative, as soon as there's one, there's two. So, masculine, feminine, balance, yin and yang, Tara, Tara Buddha. Some say Tara and Avalokiteshvara are the same archetype. Buddhist scholar John Blofeld says so in his book about Mantra Om Mani Padme Hum, his other book about great compassion, and Tara. Check them out. Tara, thank you. Sometimes I like to practice lying down at night, putting my head in the lap of Tara. Or my guru. I feel like Tara is the Yidam or the Dharmapala, the guardian protector of the West of North America or something, and the Western Dharma movement beyond Buddhism, isms and schisms of the spiritual renaissance, the Dharma movement of yoga and meditation and nonviolent communication and sacred activism, vegetarianism, Tai Chi, Qigong, complementary healing, Dharma movement in the West, in the whole. Go West, young Taras. Any question or sharing, please? Kevin, are you picking winners among the volunteers, or how's it happening?
I'm picking what I got. I'm picking what we have available here. We got a question here from Benjamin. He says the question is a bit heady, but are there any actual differences between sadhanas other than the intent that you put behind them? For example, is medicine Buddha best if you're sick? Does green Tara practice do something unique at the metaphysical level due to the green wisdom energy?
There's a few questions in there. I'm trying to tune into where you're coming from and what's between the lines. Sadhanas, as you call them, specific practices, let's say for the moment, translate that, are skillful means. The means is not the end. So there's different means, like in the pharmacopoeia, there's different medicines, but generally speaking, all medicines have the same purpose, which is healing, which is curing, which is therapeutic. So but they're each a little different in chemical composition. in background, in proven or yet to be proven results and things like that. Different forms, different colors, need I go on? So similarly with sadhanas, to use your word, specific practices. Since you use that word, then we might say specific practices from the Indian subcontinent, like tantric practices or meditation practices, yoga practices, mantra practices, and so on. So yes, meditation practices are in general all for healing our soul and body, let's say body, speech, mind, soul, and spirit. But Medicine Buddha, Vayasajya Guru, and the Medicine Buddha mantra, Jayatam Begzi Begzi Maha Begzi Radhasamagati Soha, no, I'm not stuttering, is a very good healing practice. As Buddha said, I am like the doctor, Dharma practice, it's like the prescription or the medicine, but you're like the patients if you're the afflicted ones who are coming for something, for some help. So you have to take the medicine to be healed. So in that sense, it's a healing process. We're returning to health. And health is the natural state. Illness is the aberration. Similarly, our Buddha nature, or Buddha-ness, or luminous, radiant, uncorruptible, unborn, undying, or dare I say deathless being, is the natural state. And interference, mental instability and illness, and other things are the aberration. So these practices help us bring us back to health, let's call it generally. So practicing the compassion practices of Avalokiteshvara help us to be more in the ray or radiant, become like that archetype representing unconditional love, loving kindness, compassion, altruism, generosity, empathy, mercy, forgiveness. If we practice the purification mantra Vajrasattva, it has a purification effect, bringing us back to our true nature. So each of them has a slightly different, it's like different tools in your toolkit for home repair. So in a sense, all tools have the same purpose, but they have different jobs. So I hope that's clear. So Tara specifically is known for being like the feminine energy, the yin energy, and the yin yang of Chinese philosophy. Feminine, not female, feminine energy. More, in this case, in the case of Tara, representing protection, guidance, succor, solace, like Tara, green Tara is imaged iconographically. In other words, she is painted, she is statued, she is seen this way as having her right leg down. She's sitting like in half lotus posture. Her right leg is down, stepping down into this world. Swift responder, first responder to prayers and aspirations and needs. And her right hand is reaching down too to help, let's say, interpret, to pull beings out of the mire and muck of samsara in the lower realms, as they call it. So Buddha activity, liberate Buddha activity. So just like you see some saints have different activities, like Mother Teresa was a social activist, saintly social activist, serving the poorest people perhaps on the planet. Some other saints are more contemplative. Some others might be more yogic. Some others might be more teacherly, mentorly, philosophical, learned at higher education. So different sadhanas, different horses for different courses. I don't remember what else was in your question, but that's about the different sadhanas and their purposes. Of course, all contemplative practices have a similar purpose and point. Just like, let's say generally, all sports have a certain purpose and point, like for fun, like for exercise, like for cooperation. But the different sports can be very different. Some are good and exciting and, like football, and some are like, I'm not supposed to pick on cats and put up dogs. So I'm gonna say, like golf or these things, bowling or curling. Every time I turned on the Olympics in the last few, decades, there's curling on. Probably because it's in the other side of the world in a whole different time zone. So I'm out of sync with the main events. What curling is? That thing that, it's like sweeping up the kitchen and pushing a giant plate or food platter down the icy table. So they're different sports, but for the same purpose. And in a way, to be more serious, training us in the different aspects that we can, develop, like focus, like discipline, like exercise, health, fun, things like that. Similarly with different practices and sadhanas, like there's so many different kinds of meditation, different kinds of yoga, different kinds of prayer traditions, different kinds of contemplative traditions, but also similar. Some meditation is still in silence, some with music, chanting, breathing, energy, some, with movement like yoga, meditation, movement, tai chi, qigong, Sufi dancing, whirling dervishes. Whirling dervishes is a great contemplative practice of the Sufis, the mystic tradition of Islam. There's also Tibetan Lama dances. In case you don't know, Cham, you can look it up. It's a yogic practice involving breath, visualization, movement, dancing, and sort of story. Like drama, visualizing yourself in that drama and story. Any other questions?
There aren't any other questions that have been sent in here.
Okay. The person who just asked, you want to follow up your question with some of the other points of it, perhaps? That I didn't quite get to?
He put in the chat, great, thank you. But Benjamin, if there's other things, you can
Sure.
raise your hand and I can
Welcome.
jump in.
Here's another, like thought related to your question about the many practices. So I can't really say that this is true in all the traditions and perennial philosophies, but in the Dharma that I've experienced, particularly the Tibetan Buddhist Dharma, then pretty much every Lama means teacher. Every Lama of any kind or rank or type, when they're teaching you something, instructing you in a practice, let's say, then they say, this is the main practice. This is the only practice you need. This is the main practice. If you know lamas, like I can't really speak for Zen masters. I can't really speak here for, chanting Buddhist Soka Gakkai of Japan, but Vajrayana Buddhism, if you're teaching you Chenrezi's compassion practice, this is the main practice. Look, the Dalai Lama is an incarnation of Chenrezi, and this is his practice. Kala Rinpoche has said this mantra, counting it with his abacus, beads, a fantastic number, what we could say in Tibetan, 3 boom. That's like, I don't know, 300 million times or something over his life. So it's the main practice, of course. But what happens when you practice like a deity yoga, Yidam practice? Let's say Vajrayogini, let's say Vajrakalaya. It's the main practice, they will always say. And then what happens when you're practicing Guru Yoga? It's the main practice. My teachers always say Guru Yoga is the main practice. Because it is. Whatever you're doing, if that's not the main practice, then what? Maybe you should be doing something else that's more central or main. Of course, I'm exaggerating a little to make a point, but I'm also not. You will hear this a lot. Just to extend the metaphor, if you go out with scope a little to like traditions, lineages, the world, different world religions, everybody says or thinks theirs is the best. Of course. Now, some are more dogmatic about it than others. Some call it the only way. If you turn pages of big books about comparative religion, every page says this is the only way, but it's a slightly different tradition or religion. And of course, that makes sense in a certain angle. Like I always say, I think that the non-sectarian practice lineage or Dzogchen Monmugu lineage, my lineage, let's say, is the best, of course. Otherwise, guess what? I'd be doing something else, wouldn't I? But it's the best for me. It's not really comparative best. It's not better than. So we will have to find what suits and fits us, just like our own, I don't know what, dress code, lifestyle, vocation, the clothes we wear, you know, or whatever. Shoes that fit, not just shoes like Italian shoes that are famously the best. Or, you know, eating for nutrition, not just Chinese food or French food, the best. The British somehow also get nourished and their kids grow up, even if British food may not be the best. I'm not going to insist. You got to have a sense of humor about these things. Otherwise, life ain't much funny. Very funny, much fun. And, you know, in the world of spirituality and religion, people can get pretty dogmatic, and religion has become pretty intimidating in the modern age where we question everything, and it's still intimidating, and it's like hard to penetrate sometimes. And when we're young, if we have experience, if we're brought to that, if we have to, you know, go to that on Sunday, it's part of our family tradition, which ain't a bad thing. Give us some background and ethics and community. You know, we can make our own choices when we grow up, of course, but that intimidation factor drives a lot of us away when we start to think for ourselves. You know, I was going to say when we're 12 or 16 or 18, but, you know, when we start to think for ourselves, if we ever do at a certain point, and we grow up and have to find our way. Because with freedom, which we all grow up and individuate and want, comes responsibility. Then it's up to us, and there's no one else to blame for how we live and what we do and what the implications and results are. So it's always been our mission of transmission, not just of education or information, and of openness and inclusiveness and non-sectarianness and equal to all. And importantly, what do I want to say? Deepening our practice and trying to transform the atmosphere of spirituality in our country, in our world, and not just go along with, I mean, like what I grew up with is Judeo-Christian 1950s sort of secular religion, where the polls say 80% of people, 90% of people say they believe in God or go to church. Well, look around. Is that really the fact, or is that what people want to say when somebody calls them to take a poll? Of course, believe in God and go to church. We're good Americans. But really, do they? Do we? My parents wanted me to marry a Jewish person, but I'm not sure both of them believed in God. But I'm not here to expose, you know, anyone. You know what I'm saying? I know people that are dogmatically screaming on behalf of Israel all the time, like Alan Dershowitz. But he says he can't believe in God. He's too, I don't know, modern or intelligent. So what kind of Jew is that? That's politics and culture. That's not spirituality and religion. God is the center of the belief of Judaism, the one God and all that. So anyway, talking frankly, growing up, we are involved with religion, even if we say we're not religious, we're spiritual, we're in that side of the street. We might have to deal with these things. You know, of course, people have questions. How do I talk to my parents or family or kids about religion? Or when they come home from school, questions. What do we do on family gatherings, religious or secular? Is it important if in a couple both share their practice or not. On that last point, and I see our time is gone, so I'm gonna end here. On our last point, a lot of people have this question. The great pioneer of Buddhism in the West, Zen Master Suzuki Roshi from Japan, who came in the 1960s, was invited to San Francisco, who wrote, dictated, his broken English dictated, pretty good at broken English, Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, American Buddhist classic. Might want to read it if you haven't. When someone in the crowd in San Francisco in the late 60s asked him about what should they do if their mate doesn't believe, doesn't meditate, or something like that, he said, maybe one in the family is enough. And as the story goes, you could feel the whole crowd of like 500 people go, like, what a relief. Some applied Buddhist wisdom, not just theoretical philosophy. So that's the message of Dzogchen too, as Noshu Kempo always says, look, just relax a little. Why are you so serious and intense? Take a breath. What a relief. Thank you all. Have a wonderful Sunday. There may be some announcements. Love to you all. Thank you. Be well.
Thank you so much, Lama. I put a link in the chat of upcoming programs if you'd like to keep an eye on what's coming up. And thanks to everyone for showing up for these practices and the Sangha and getting to practice the Buddha with the Lama and the great Dharma teachings. Much appreciated to all. Have a beautiful day, everyone.
Thank you. And don't forget, one-day retreat, Saturday, October 1st, virtual, if you wish. Love.